when I started Arm, which was the end of 1990, it wasn't just me, it was 12 engineers and me. What I really believe in, to be successful, you've got to be the world's best at what you do. You've got to be brutally honest about your weaknesses. You've got to fix your weakest link, right? And every team, so it's about teamwork, it's about opportunity, etc., etc. So what I like about him is technology, business, etc. However, again, this is how the world is different. Unfortunately, we have a couple of wars going on the planet. We're recovering from the pandemic, so the world has got a bit more difficult than it used to be. However, I really do believe this. If you are the best in the world, anywhere in the world, you can win. And by the way, I'm a Red, so I'm a Liverpool football supporter, which is another reason I come here a lot, because I've got season tickets. You're as weak as the weakest link. You need the best goalkeeper, the best centre forward, you need people on the bench, and you need everything. And what I'm saying to him, whenever I see him, I'm always picking on what his weakest links are and what he's going to do to fix them fast. And I think another problem we have, all startups have, bureaucracy, inertia, pace. Because business, to be the best, you've got to go at the fastest speed and you've got to conquer the world. He's got that opportunity, and I wish him well. Over to you, my friend.
Thank you, Robin. Well, that's probably why we get on, because we're both Reds, right? It would be different if it was a blue anyway.
It's thanks to my wife, by the way. So I met my wife, my football team was Chesterfield in Derbyshire. I took her to a game, she wasn't impressed, but by the way, Chesterfield knocked Manchester City under 21s out of the EFL Cup. Did you know that?
I didn't.
And by the way, Manchester City only drew yesterday, and we won. So there we are. But that does help, by the way.
It makes a happier day.
Yeah. Okay.
No, that's great. Thanks, Robin. And of course, at Paragraf, we're trying to emulate the success that Robin had with Arm. The days were different back then. There were different business models, but essentially what we're trying to do is operate in the same world. We're in electronics. The difference with Paragraf is we're about the materials and we're about the chips that go behind those electronics. And today, materials like silicon and even some of the compound semiconductors are starting to reach the end of their limitations materially. So we have to bring in new technologies through new materials, and that's what Paragraf comes in. We started off by creating graphene direct on substrate, and now we're making electronic devices out of that graphene. The device is operating at performance levels much greater than silicon, much greater than compound, and at power levels much, much lower. Our challenge right now is what Robin has already been through, is to scale the company globally. So there's a lot of hard work going on right now to move our technologies around the world to different marketplaces, but essentially try and keep the core of what we do in the UK. So how did you do that, Robin?
So, well, what we did, we had a founding team, but this is probably where I was slightly different to you, because before we created Arm, I'd worked for Motorola Semiconductors for 11 years. The Americans taught me about world markets, about the voice of the customer, all those other good things. I'd also worked for European Silicon Structures, which was another was a European company, doing direct write on wafer with e-beam machines. So I'd been on this long journey, and I think I have been global in my outlook since about 1973. And Motorola taught me, I say the voice of the customer is 1,000 times more important than the technology push, and I really believe that. So I think as a successful startup, winning the key leading customers who determine your roadmap, I'd say that's the most useful thing to do. An awful lot of companies raise a lot of money, lose a lot of money, a lot of unicorns crash and burn. So I'm a big fan of the voice of the customer. The other thing is, when we started on, even though the technology started in Cambridge with Acorn, we had Apple as an investor, which was £1.5 million of cash. And by the way, Larry Tesler, who's the chief scientist of Apple, he's probably the main reason why I took the job, not the Acorn technology. And we also had VLSI technology in California. So even though the textbooks of Cambridge say this was a British company, and it was a bit, actually the seed money, the majority of the money came from America, and I had an American impact and a global outlook from day one, which I think is an advantage that we had, because you need a global outlook in a business like yours. And so again, I'm encouraging him. I think you can get people who support, know, understand on your board with deep pockets more easily in America than perhaps you can in Cambridge, right? So I had some advantages there, but also I should say ES2, which was the startup before Arm, that didn't work out because the e-beam machine didn't work. So, and again, what I'm pushing him on is, again, that key players on that, and you've got some friends abroad, they can really, really help you. And I'm a big fan of. Oh, by the way, Liverpool are still in the Champions League, and we have won the World Cup. So we come from a football team that has a global outlook as well.
That's fantastic, and that is really good to understand that the global aspects of a business need to happen right at the start of when you initiate the company.
And to be honest with you, if it had just been Acorn, I wouldn't have gone anywhere near it. It was actually Apple. And also, the other thing that VLSI technology are not particularly credited in the history books of Cambridge. VLSI technology had the best silicon design tools at laying the transistors out on the planet, and Acorn's first chip wouldn't have worked if it hadn't been for the VLSI design tools. So again, in the world, and you've got customers across the planet, you've got contacts across the planet, everybody could add value, and I look for the value add of everybody. And again, I'm lucky to have had a global outlook. And the people in America, by the way, the other thing I should explain, we opened a design center in Austin, Texas fairly early on. You've bought an American company, by the way, so I'm glad he's got an American company. These are all good things. So there are parallels, but they're different. And again, what I'm excited about personally, the transistor, by the way, on silicon, was invented the same year as I was born. The transistor's a little bit younger than I am. I am excited about new materials, new technologies, and it looks as if your graphene might actually work and might actually do something useful. There's been a lot of talk and a lot of papers written, but I'm hopeful that this technology will really take off and work. And that can be a new wave. Right? There will be a wave of, hopefully, of graphene at some point. It's not started yet, but hopefully it's not too far away.
And that's the opportunity that's being offered by Paragraf. Silicon has been around for a long time and done amazing things. This camera that we're being filmed on wouldn't exist without silicon. But there's a new drive now, there's a new higher performance regime required, particularly for things like quantum computing, AI. We need to have that capability, as well as we need to have lower energy consumption materials. So Paragraf's opportunity is huge, because we're bringing in the new platform, we're underpinning that whole new frontier of new material electronics.